Today we are going to discuss about IMF, International Monetary Fund, or we can call it a World Bank. A World Bank, the biggest World Bank, the biggest bank in the world, providing all kinds of resources, all kinds of capital needs, all kinds of helping hand, all kinds of guiding hands, not to individual, but the nations. Whatever the nations projects ambitiously to build the canal or build the jetties or build the dams, like Narmada project. Every single thing is financed by IMF. India owes around 750 billion plus to IMF. You can get the loan. As a nation, you can get the loan from IMF, and IMF is going to charge you soft rate of interest. Sometimes IMF is going to offer you grants, sometimes aid, but IMF is actually looking for every nation on this planet to provide their financial need for their ambitious project. We're going to go into the history of IMF. First thing, it was launched in 1944-45 at Bretton Woods in the USA. Idea was launched in 1945, operation was launched in 1944-45. Brainchild of John Maynard Keynes. Keynes were the real ideologue behind that. It was Keynes' ideas to start something as magnanimous or magnum as IMF to tackle the global issues pertaining to finance. Promoters were 5 allied nations, meaning P5, those nations which have veto powers in the UN, UNO. These 5 nations have started this project, which were US, USSR, Russia, China, UK, and France. These 5 nations were the frontline nation to begin the project. Background of all this project was the devastation of Second World War. Economy during the Second World War was teetering on the path of the tatters, in shambles. Everything was ground zero. Everything was at the nadir. They wanted to rebuild the economy of the globe, financial structure, financial system, obliterate poverty and unemployment. They went into IMF. Motives of IMF: financial sustainable global structure, to build a kind of bank which can support the sustainability of financial structure of the world. Source of funds: IMF asset is about $1 trillion today. This money comes from the donation from the wealthy nations. And then now, since you have $1 trillion, you are going to diversify, you are going to invest in different kinds of investment, different kind of projects. And this way now, IMF is not totally reliable on the donation, but it's a self-sufficient fiscal entity. It has its own $1 trillion, and it is making huge amount of interest income, profit in the investment and all that. So this is about IMF in a nutshell. Now we are going to go into the motives of IMF in detail, in depth. Now we are going to go into 5 objectives. We are going to discuss these 5 objectives in nutshell, in detail, in depth. But remember, IMF does not have only 5 objectives. IMF has Google and a galore of objectives that IMF is working on them. Thanks to IMF, the kind of world we have is all about IMF's contribution and cooperation and collaboration. Without IMF, we would not have been able to build the world that we have built today. What happened right after 1945 when the Second World War ended? All these 5 nations, known as Allied nations, which fought against Hitler, Mussolini, and Hirohito, they sat down and they decided that now we have bigger task, more ardent task on our shoulder. And that task was to rebuild the global economy, which went into shambles during the Second World War. 18 million people, all millennials, all young, were vanished. 6 million were Jews alone. 18 million people gone. Economy of Europe was in shambles. American economy was in tatters. Chinese economy was in tatters. Indian economy, part of the Indian economy like northeastern part, Darjeeling and all that, they were also devastated. Everything was obliterated. Now if these 5 nations had not thought about something, this magnum with the help of Keynes, John Maynard Keynes, then whatever the world we have today would not have been possible at all, would not have been likely at all. So now the bigger task. Marshall Plan came into the place. IMF came into the place. Every single thing they devised about how to rehab the economy, financial system in the world. And they did. So in 1944, they devised IMF. In 1945, IMF was functional with these motives. First motive was eradication of recession and depression from the globe. Right after the Second World War, economy of the globe went into tailspin. Nothing was working. Everything was devastated. Every single thing was in tatters, shambles, at the nadir. So they decided the first and foremost thing for us is to think about bread and butter, to think about employment, to think about kitchen table issues. When we get up early in the morning, the first thing we want is food. So they sat down, 5 nations sat down with Keynes and devise, visualize economic progress first, and then to build the nation's structure. First to build the structure of economy, then the nation. Second objective was eco-boost provided to underprivileged nation. Those nations which were very poor. Europe was still rich, America was still rich. Russia, China were okay. But other nations which become collateral damage, which did not have any reason to fight Second World War, but they were dragged into Second World War. Or they were caught in, we call it crossfire. They were standing in the line of fire. Their economy was also devastated. They also suffered severe setback, economically, socially, politically, every which way. So IMF decided to give economic boost to those underprivileged nations. Like India was underprivileged at the time, most of the Asian nations, most of the Africans, most of the Latin American nations. So IMF resorted its project to rebuild, rehab their economy from the phoenix. Third is providing soft loan. Now we're going to move on. Point number 3. That is providing soft loan. to capital crunched nations. At the time, right after Second World War, the post-Second World War economy was in shambles. There was nothing, smithereens. Nation did not have any kind of capital to rebuild their nation, rebuild their economy, rebuild the infrastructure. To rebuild infrastructure, they needed Google of help from IMF. If IMF were not there, those nations would have been still at the Nadir, at the Terigi. But thanks to IMF, IMF provided them all kinds of fiscal help, all kinds of helping hand, all kinds of guiding hand, and with soft loan to capital crunch nation. Capital crunch means those nations did not have any kind of capital, provided them soft loan. Soft loan means very small amount of interest. Sometimes interest is waived. Interest is waived, no interest at all. Pro bono loan, aid, grant, this kind of thing. IMF did it generously and made a big difference. A magnanimous difference in the world economy, structure, fiscal structure, and everything that we have today in this world. It's all thanks to IMF, thanks to these P5 nations, and thanks to John Maynard Keynes. John Maynard Keynes was the best, one of the most prominent economists of the time. I would say he was the second Adam Smith after Adam Smith. He did two most important things. The best thing, the most prominent thing in 1930s. One thing he did, that he took out America from the Great Depression. He helped America how to navigate itself from the carnage of depression, that's known as Great Depression. And he succeeded. Second task he performed was equally essential and quintessential was that he put together IMF. These two things actually made him the greatest economist on this planet. And I would actually pay more credit, more respect to John Maynard Keynes than Adam Smith. Reason? Adam Smith did every single thing theoretically. It was theory. Adam Smith displayed, demonstrated, showcased all kinds of theories of economy. Keynes did everything practical. He applied the economy, classical economy applied. He applied his ideas about finance, about economy, about rehabilitation, about Marshall Plan, rebuild Europe, rebuild the whole of Japan, rebuild America. So every single thing John Maynard Keynes did was practical. Every single thing that Adam Smith did, that was mainly theoretical. He wrote a magnum opus in 1776 titled The Wealth of the Nations. Adam Smith, Wealth of the Nations. And he poured down all his ideas and ideals and insight and instinct and every single thing about economy in the book. Didn't do anything. Practical. Keynes did every single thing practical as well as theoretical. So what we are moving into is monitoring the global economic trajectory. विश्वनी अर्थतंत्रनी trajectory गति में monitoring करवो. IMF is still there. IMF is actually monitoring all 195 nations of the UNO. Every 195 nation is monitored by IMF as far as their economy, as far as their forex, as far as their exchange rate, as far as their M1, M2, M3, M4, M5 that we discussed yesterday. Meaning everything about economy is more monitored, more under the microscope than the finance minister of that particular nation. I give you a very good example of Indira Gandhi's era. India was so poor that India has only $1 billion in forex in exchange. $1 billion. Today India has more than 500 billion. OPEC nations refuse us to sell the oil because we did not have any kind of guarantee. Only $1 billion. OPEC people did not trust us because their argument can also be justified because we were not able, capable or viable to foot their bills. Finally, Indira Gandhi went to IMF, tried to coax and cajole IMF to take the credit guarantee. But IMF put one condition forward to Indira Gandhi. IMF said, Indira Gandhi, if you are going to devalue your currency by 35%, whopping 35% devaluation of our rupee, then and then IMF was willing to help us out. First, Indira Gandhi denied, refused, declined. But things did not change. We needed oil to run our economy. Finally, Indira Gandhi agreed, concurred to the IMF plan. So, this is IMF. IMF will do every single thing for you in reciprocation. Reciprocal. If you do this for IMF, IMF will do this for you. Fifth point is financing in highly ambitious project of the nation. For example, we wanted to build Narmada Canal. We needed 14,000 crore rupees to start from the scratch. We did not have 14,000 crore rupees, so we went to IMF. IMF was willing to give us upon some conditions, and we agreed to the conditions because now we were privy to the fact that IMF will not give you even a penny without agreeing to IMF's suggestion. We agreed to IMF's suggestion, we agreed to IMF's recommendation, we made all kinds of modification and rectification in our economy. IMF provided 100% loan, aids, grant, and we built Narmada Dam. So this is IMF. If your nation wants to do something magnanimous, something spectacular, and it does not have money, still it is likely, it is possible. How it is possible? Go to IMF, agree to IMF, follow IMF's suggestion, recommendation, guidelines, and IMF is going to shower rain money on you, and you can be able to carry out your project successfully. Thank you very much, guys, for watching me. See you next time. Until then, goodbye. God bless you.